Welcome back to my channel. If you are into K-pop, you know very well that some stans can be pretty mean and annoying. I have come across so many awful things they said that made me go mad. Today's video will be exactly about that. Things K-pop stans say that just piss me off. Now let's go. No, but you don't understand how much this sentence pisses me off. Like, who are you to straight up call someone ugly? I would like to see your face first. It's perfectly okay to consider an idol unattractive. It's okay to think an idol is ugly, but keep it to yourself, please. Hiding behind a computer screen makes you feel so brave because if you saw an unattractive person on the street, you wouldn't say, "Hey, you're fucking ugly." No, you would just keep it to yourself. So what gives you the right to openly shit on an idol's visuals? If a group makes bad music, you think they should just disband. If a group doesn't have frequent comebacks, you think they should just disband. If a group's comeback flops, you think they should just disband. Like, hello, if we go by that logic, half of K-pop groups should disband. For example, for some of you, Blackpink should just disband because they don't come back frequently and mostly do solo activities. Do you realize that they would still be successful and relevant even if they had only one comeback every, let's say, 3 years? It doesn't make sense saying they should just disband. Stop being so ridiculous. Listen, there are tons of idols that bore me to death and I really don't understand why some people think they're so funny. However, many other people could be thinking the exact same thing about idols that I find super funny. That's because funniness is subjective. So do you realize it makes no sense saying someone is boring because to some people they are not? I also find it funny how some of the idols you call boring are simply just shy. Apparently idols have to be literal clowns 24/7 for you to not call them boring, and if someone dares to just act like a normal person, then they are not entertaining enough for you. Is K-pop supposed to be a circus for you? I agree with this sentence to a certain extent. For example, if someone talks shit about a group without even knowing this group well, and ends up just believing rumors without knowing the full context, then I agree. You're not part of the fandom. You don't know the full story. Stay out of it. It's not your problem, bestie. However, if an idol does something objectively bad and offensive, something that was definitely not a misunderstanding, then I'm allowed to criticize them without having the fandom telling me I cannot just because I don't stand that group. Like, what the fuck? For instance, if your idol says something homophobic, I have all the right to be pissed, and you cannot silence someone who is mad just because they don't belong to the fandom. Make it make sense. Well, excuse me, this is not my job. Like, what the fuck? I get it. Idols are humans, not robots, but being an idol is a job, and just like every job, whoever has that job has to be good at it. Not me. Not someone that has a completely different job in preparation. So excuse me if sometimes I expect the bare minimum from idols. By the way, I am okay with lip syncing. I don't care if idols lip sync. I really am unbothered. But don't say, "Oh, I wanna see you try singing and dancing at the same time," because that is just stupid. Exactly. But so what? This is not the drag you think it is. Them getting their initial fame from BTS doesn't mean they don't deserve the attention they got. They have continuously proven to deserve every bit of popularity they have. They just happen to debut under the same company as BTS. It's not something they can control. Just like you have no control over the color of your skin or the family you're born in. They're just doing their thing, and hating on them just for the simple fact they got some attention from another big fandom just seems so stupid to me. Also, they might have gotten attention from armies in the beginning, but their fandom grew so much thanks to their own work and because people like them and their music, not just because they're related to another group. Toxic stans are awful in general. Stop trying to make any toxic stan look better by excusing their actions just because someone else is being just as shitty as them. Yes, girl group stans can be mean as fuck. Some of them hate men like it's a personality trait. But shall we talk about boy group stans who have continuously harassed female idols just because they were dating their oppa? Let's not forget boy group stans belittling and discrediting female idols for having cute concepts or quote-unquote easy choreos. Let's not forget boy group stans not letting women get away with anything but excusing everything male idols do. Let's not forget boy group stans body shaming female idols, or calling them sluts and other awful names. Yes, toxic girl group stans also call male idols awful names, and they're just as bad. But see, toxic stans are equally bad. Stop excusing a category of toxic stans by making other toxic stans look worse. They're equally awful and you all are ridiculous. Oh really? And what the fuck are they? Excuse me. They're Korean men who live in Korea, sing in Korean, at least most of the time. They speak Korean. Their families are Korean. They debuted in the K-pop industry. They have been inspired to become idols by other K-pop idols, and they are contributing to K-pop and its industry. You're not helping BTS by trying to erase their Korean roots just because you think they're above K-pop. Matter of fact, they are a part of K-pop whether you like it or not. So stop with your superiority complex and your nonsense. Well, I think the fuck not. You don't know them. You know the version of themselves they are willing to show you. That's what you know. I'm not saying they're faking their personalities. However, I bet that when you're around others, even your closest friends, you're not exactly the same you are when you're alone. So can you imagine idols who live their life in front of the cameras, in front of hundreds of strangers who watch them? Do you think they will show everything? You don't know them to the fullest, so if one day someone exposes them for something bad they did, you are absolutely no one to say, "Oh no, it's not possible. They would have never done that." Bestie, they did. And you couldn't have possibly known they were awful people. Well, guess what? That song didn't end up being the title track. Now move on. Get over it. Most of the time there's a reason a song is the title track and, fun fact, the world doesn't revolve around your music taste, so just because you prefer a B-side it doesn't mean it should have been the title track. Yes they do, unfortunately. In fact it's terrible. Like obviously there are some amazing idol producers, but others should never be allowed to release music ever again. There are people whose literal job is producing music. Maybe let them take care of it, will you? Nobody gives a fuck that your faves produce their own stuff if it sucks. If they're good producers then good for them. But let's not pretend like every self-produced song was good. Some were terrible and if I were a fan I wouldn't brag about it. I'd actually be embarrassed. Well, I apparently don't have anything else that pisses me off to put in this video. Or I mean, there are many other things but I don't want this to be too long and I don't wanna annoy you guys too much. I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to. That's all for today. Thanks again for watching. Bye everyone.